So you guys got an opportunity to see what selflessness looks like in the real world. I want you to understand that as teenagers, you have the opportunity to live in a world that you get to take advantage of. But I also want to tell you that as teenagers, if you are aware of how you can affect change in the world through acts of selflessness or random acts of kindness, you will be ahead of the game of where most teenagers and even most adults are if they haven't been introduced to how to live the golden rule, how to live acts of selflessness. Now I wanted to show you, this is just an image of the golden rule. The golden rule you can learn about in school, you can learn about in church. This little diagram here actually shows 12 different cultural ways that you could have learned, or religious ways that you could have learned about the golden rule. So it's not just something that's tied to one type of religion or one type of culture. It actually is, in the very real sense, a universal way to live life to its fullest for the benefit of all, not just one. So what I want you to consider is that the golden rule says to treat others the way you want to be treated. Now there are different variations of the golden rule that say the same thing, but I want you to think of it as something that you have to do. Okay, one version of the golden rule is don't treat others the way you don't want to be treated. Well, if you think about it, don't treat others almost sounds like don't do anything mean. And if you shorten that, don't do anything. Or don't do. Well, don't do or not doing is more or less passive. It's not asking you to do anything, it's asking you to not do anything. And so I want you to think of just a second about that a little deeper. I would rather see you go and do things that can affect positive change than not do things that would cause negative consequence. Because if what you do or don't do causes a rippling effect, why wouldn't you want your actions instead of your lack of actions to be what causes the rippling effect? And when I say that, I mean, why wouldn't you want your reputation to be known as what you go and do that helps other people instead of what you don't do that keeps people from being hurt? Not that that's not important, but I want to think of it as an action, as something that you're actually having to work to do, because there will be fruits to your labor, and those fruits are going to make you feel so much differently about yourself than you would if you were just passively accomplishing things. So what I want you to do for your assignment is I want you to write about a time where you have had somebody do something out of selflessness for you. If you can't think of a time, maybe you have been the person who has already acted in a selfless manner, and you have seen the benefits of that, not only in how it made you feel and how it gave you a sense of pride and a sense of accomplishment, but what it actually did that bared fruit in that person's life, in that person's existence. And if you don't have an example of either one of those, then what I want you to write about is a time where you wish you could have had someone do something for you. A time where you needed something done and you wish someone could have known about it or could have been courageous enough to have done what you needed done. Or you can put yourself in the driver's seat. A time when you wish you could have stepped up and done something for somebody. You knew there was an opportunity. You knew what was being asked, but you didn't quite have the tools or didn't feel like you had the tools to step out of your comfort zone and to act in a selfless way that could benefit that person. So if you could have a do-over, if you have an instance in your life where you could have a do-over, then I want you to write about that, okay? And I understand that it isn't going to be easy to write about it if it gets too deep. So if you need to keep it on the surface, to keep it from getting too personal for this introductory assignment, that's fine. On the other hand, if you feel like this is something that it's time for you to dig into and write about in a more deeply manner, then that's fine as well, okay? This isn't something that we're going to have to share with others in class. It's going to be something that is being shared with me, and if you feel comfortable at some point in our character education segments, it can be shared with the class, all right? So please take time to watch this final video that I want you to see in regards to how selflessness or acts of selflessness are changing the world that we currently live in, and give you an opportunity to see how you acting in a selfless way can continue to change the world for the better. Because the world isn't getting to be an easier place to live in just by us worrying about and taking care of ourselves. It will actually get to be an easier place to live in if we learn to work with one another and step up for one another when we see opportunities for selflessness or for selflessness living arise. Okay, so watch this final video, and then you'll have an assignment, your writing assignment, and please, it'll be, it doesn't have to be any length. A couple paragraphs would suffice, and I'm not going to stick you with a required length on this. I just want to open your mind up to something that we need to start exploring for the benefit of everyone in this class and in this school, and let's let it go ahead and spill over outside of this building in this town, and then the people that we meet in our daily lives. All right?